Grownfolks production.
Let's talk about the IGN. Now, I skipped the first part about this. I can post it in chat if you'd like to see about it, but it's them just kind of talking about the overall stuff about the game. Let's talk about coaching tree being introduced. They talk about outside of home field advantage, which I like. I was a little nervous about it, but I actually really like it. I wish it was actually slightly more powerful than maybe what it is. Another feature that's similarly lifted from NCAA Football 14, which I find is like an underhanded comment, but from my NCAA guys, which, I mean, I played the game. You know, Win is the guy who got me mainly into it. I love college football, but I was a Madden guy, you know. Arguably, fix me if I'm wrong here, Win. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but hands down, I have been told NCAA 14 is the best football game that's ever existed.
Oh, wow. Put me on the spot.
Hands down, a top three NCAA game for sure.
How about we caveat it by saying it's the best college football game ever played, ever made? I'll caveat it. I don't think it's the best football game ever.
My argument is to lift something from arguably the best NCAA game ever just sounds like a stupid slap in the face. But anyway, coaching trees, I think we both agree, are a positive and a step in the right direction, and something that people are going to love.
I will say that on the coaching trees, I do like that for the most part, as far as the head coach and the coordinators, once you go down one path, because it typically has at least two branches, once you go down one branch, the other branch locks. So you honestly have to make a difficult decision and choice as to how you want to progress. So like if you want to, for your head coach, you have the option to take experience gain bonuses for like your defense or your offense. And once you pick one, you can't go and pick the other one. Now, there is an option to reset your skill trees. I don't remember where it is, but I know you can do it and get points back. But you can, if you don't like the way you spent, you can change. So that's a good thing too. So if you basically spend out, you can say, okay, that sucked. Let me reset and try again. But that I do like is that it does force you to make a difficult decision, because some of those choices are rather difficult. I mean, I'm a defensive guy. Do I want to help my defense be better, or do I want to make my weaker offense better by getting my O-line and my halfback, my skill position players, get them better? So what do I do as a head coach to help that out? And how can I help my offensive coordinator and that kind of stuff? So I like that, but it is different. And I like different in this case. And they honestly did a good job. I wouldn't say they ripped it off from NCAA football, though. NCAA does it a little bit differently. But I do like the choice system of, hey, you pick this branch, you're locked off of this branch. So it makes you make that tough decision of which one do I want more. So
EA should do themselves a favor and stop allowing people to put microphones in front of Sean Grady's mouth. He says, honestly, their influences are more rooted in games like God of War. That's fine to say, Grady, but then he says, my son and I have been playing a lot of it. Probably a stupid thing to say, buddy. You should, that's great to say to your wife or your friend next door, but you probably shouldn't say that on an article, because freaking Moody ripped into that statement. He ate that like it was T-bone steak, which was kind of funny to me. Scouting will be updated. Later. He says, scouting has been another sore point for franchise mode, and fans will be happy to know it's finally being overhauled for Madden 22. It's just not happening right away. Grady says the team considered pushing the update to Madden 23, but ultimately decided to make it part of a live update. We've been treating the whole game, and certainly not just franchise like live servers, Grady says. So we said, let's continue to work on it and get it out, close to the NFL season in September timeframe, so the fans can have it this year. When it does arrive, it will feature dynamic draft board changes throughout the year, including, I don't know if it's going to be in this article, I don't think it is, but I know that I did hear this will include local, regional scouts, national scouts, that kind of stuff. What do you think about the scouting little Easter egg?
I am hoping that this week's deep dive will go and enlighten a lot more about what their plans are for Madden 22. Like they did after the fixed Madden franchise fiasco of Madden 21, that was something nice I felt about EA, is that they came out and said, we're going to do this, and this for Madden 21. this, and this is what we're planning for Madden 22 and beyond. And I think they hit on most of their Madden 21 promises. I think they might have missed on one, but I know scouting was something they had mentioned that was going to be in the future. I want to see what their plan is. I want to see what their roadmap is for 22 and beyond. Because the thing is that if this is a 1 year, let's just placate the franchise guys so they'll shut up about fixed Madden franchise, that's not kosher and that's not going to fly. We need to see a roadmap every single year. What are you giving to us? What can we hold you accountable for on social media for giving us? And that's what I want to see this week. I am sincerely hoping that, I know I've done this is my third podcast back with you now, and we've talked a lot about NHL and their scouting. I believe both weeks really. That is something that I hope they dip their toes in. I hope they at least take, because when I reference the less is more touchdown as the menu looks like NHL, I'm hoping that maybe they finally bothered to call Vancouver and say, "Hey guys, the scouting system you guys pretty wicked dope. Can we have that, Ozers? Can we get that down here?" And I hope they talk to those guys, and I hope they got some ideas. I know it wouldn't be perfect, but if it's something like that where you can have your regional scouts or that kind of thing, and have the scouts have different skills and attributes and things of that nature, and maybe even be able to find new prospects that nobody else would find unless they bothered to take the time and look, that would be really awesome. I'm not expecting all of that, but if they could take the initial outline of, here's your scouting board for the Southeast, here's your guys in the Southeast, here's your scout, he can scout 35 to 40% of these guys by himself. If you want more, you're going to have to send a second scout down there to get more information on the Southeast. And these are the types of players. These are where they're ranked, and give you a general overview. And then the other thing I would love to see, which always frustrated me about Madden drafting, is why is it that I don't know anything about the first round projected picks? That should be something that should be common knowledge to everybody, because they're going to go top 30. Or at the very least, give me the top 15. Give me the top 15 guys in the draft. Everybody should know everything there is to know about those guys, because those are the guys that are going to be showing up and walking on stage with Goodell, shaking hands, giving him a hug, maybe crushing him or something, and then getting their jersey. Those are the things I would love to see added. And if they go about that with that NHL look and that NHL scouting side, that would be an awesome start. And that would wake up some guys that are Madden guys and not necessarily NHL guys to go, wow, this is the kind of depth they have in other games. Yeah, that's the kind of depth we've had for a while in NHL. So,
yeah, and I'm hoping even one step further, like you said, in future Maddens. I don't expect it in this Madden at all, but give us better visuals, cinematics, production in the draft, because it's pretty boring right now. There's not a whole lot to it. So Trey says, are we going to allow pre-ordered coaching points? I don't know, Trey, but we can set it to where everybody will start with the same, and so that's probably what we do. If we do allow it, we'll make sure everybody gets the exact same points. We're not going to give anybody a benefit or a heads up unless it gets added to the incentive plan, which it totally could. He says you're going to have National, West, Central, Northeast, and Southeast scouts, and he would compare the scouting system from the knowledge that they've given closer to what the MLB scouting system will be, which I haven't had the new MLB, so
I can actually speak to this one too. The MLB, the show, is kind of it's much better than Madden. Of course, it's not hard to be better than Madden scouting, but MLB's is in that same vein. I think NHL is more in depth, but I think MLB's would be a good starting point, and it's also along the lines of essentially you have a player, you have their general potential rating, so you know how good they're going to be. You have some general ratings about their base attributes, and as you scout those players, they become more fine-tuned to the point where essentially after a couple of days in MLB The Show, depending on how good your scout is, it might take upwards of a week, they can have a full scouting report of that player and have it basically locked down. This is what this player is going to be like at the next level as far as what their ceiling can be. So it tells you what their ceiling is and what their ceiling is at each spot, and it tells you what they're currently at, so you can have an idea of where their growth is. So if it was something like that, I'd be totally happy with that. I'm not, I use NHL as my baseline just because I'm very intimately familiar with that game scouting system. But MLBs I'm familiar with, And if it was anything like MLB's, that's not a bad thing. That at all. That would be a huge step forward. Anything would be a huge step forward than what we have right now, which is basically just 3 crayons we draw in A pluses on, and that's it. So.
No, you're totally right. They talk about the franchise will include 35 new scenarios. The one thing that I'm kind of torn, again, I don't know that EA thinks these things through, but to admit that you hired someone from the community, taught them the system, and let them do your job, it's a little like you guys are.
And I added that and the fact that they added 35 new scenarios, and I think there was maybe 20 to begin with, so they basically did double the good work that you had already in-house.
Yeah, it's just not a good look unless that guy was hired full-time on the team. If you just brought him in for that project, and it just feels like, hey, here's the tool, go sit in the corner and let us know what you come up with. It's just not a good look for a multi-billion-dollar company. Are you worried at all 35 is going to be... Yeah, you're right. Are you worried 35 is going to be too many or too little? It's going to get boring?
Look, at this point, I'll take them and just be happy and just... maybe add some more during the season if that guy's still around, maybe pull him out of the corner for a day or two and say, hey, can you slap this together on the weekend while we're on coffee break? Appreciate it. Thanks. Oh, here's 10 new scenarios. I did them over the weekend. That would be awesome. But 35 is fine. I got to see how they work in game first. Yeah. I've seen them in the beta. They seem to work fine, but give me the live release. How do they work in live release? That's the big thing.
Halftime adjustments. We didn't even really talk about those.
No.
Love them? Hate them? Like them? What?
I like them. I do like them. That is something it didn't dawn on me until I saw the article again. But yeah, the halftime adjustments is a huge thing. And supposedly, from what I understand, it's even going to work. Not that we're MUT guys, but just I want to throw some news out there about MUT as well. It's going to work in MUT as well, where you can actually change your X Factor abilities and all those abilities that they add to players and stuff. You'll be able to change those at halftime to adjust based on what you're playing against. So, not that we're MUT guys. There might be a MUT guy or two in here maybe, but that's something that they are talking about. So halftime adjustments is not just for franchise, but it is something I definitely like, because if you are getting hammered with something, maybe just like a real coach, hey, the outside run's killing us. Maybe, guys, we should try, I don't know, setting the edge. Just an idea. So I do like that. I think that's a great thing, and that does add some realism. So.
The next two are presentation things. I don't want to spend time. I'd love to hear what you think, but I don't really have any thoughts because I don't care. Super Bowl presentation. Never been in Super Bowl. Well, I won one. That's about it. And so what do I care what it looks like? And then super fans. Do you have any feelings about either one of those?
I think the quote that was gotten for why they didn't do the real super fans was absolutely horrendous. The person who gave that quote should be sent to Siberia somewhere and never put in front of a microphone ever again for EA. They should tie a ball gag around that person and be like, nope, you stay in the closet, you stay quiet. That quote is horrible when you're a multi-billion-dollar company. We couldn't afford to give you that's terrible reasoning. But I genuinely would like to see the actual face scans of the super fans, because I do think, even though I'm not a Jets fan, I know the one that's on there is Fireman Ed. I really think it would be cool to, during a really good play, like a big run or a big pass play for the Jets at home, in the Meadowlands. I was trying to pick the name of the Jets stadium. To pop up in there like after that play and hear the crowd going J-E-T-S, Jet, and seeing him lead the charge, actually be Fireman Ed, I think that would be super cool. I understand why it's just a little thing, but there are other franchises that do franchise mode, the show 2K, they get those little things right. And so I think that would speak a lot to where Madden's trying to go if they got those super fans. Yeah, it's a little thing, but if you nail that, then that means we might give you a little more leeway on some other things, as long as it's not glaring,
Yep, I agree with you. But I do think it's a good foundation, and what's there is better than what we had even last Madden in the PlayStation 5 version of the game. Face of the franchise is back. We're CFM, so I'm not really gonna talk about it that much. Next gen stats roll into year 2. I didn't really dig into this one. I guess it's a cool visual, but is that all it is? It doesn't really do anything else, right?
What I would love for this to tie into is I would love for this to tie into ratings adjustments. Get rid of those Madden ratings adjusters that are like, people that can be influenced, and just throw it on next gen stats. And if guys are losing a step and the next gen stats support that, that's what drops their attributes. And not have a player, I'll just name I'll say Bobby Wagner because that's a name I've mentioned during this podcast a couple times. Not have Bobby Wagner, cry about being dropped from a 99 to a 98 overall because his awareness or went down a point or two, and so he whines to a ratings adjuster online, and then they come out to the next game, they're like, oh, we were wrong, and then they up it. That is such BS. Let the next gen stat, because if you go look at games like MLB The Show, I'll bring this one up. If you look, like the average Joe that plays on a major league roster is anywhere between like the 50s overall to like the mid 60s. Those are like the
much lower.
Yeah, much lower. Like you rarely see any players in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Those are reserved for those special talents. And I think EA, and this could be said about any of those franchises, it's hard to please those superstars and those egos with those ratings. But especially it seems like with Madden, they've gotten so full of it with the whole Madden ratings reveal that it's become a monster that they can't control. And I think
it's a social media thing now.
Oh yeah, big time. But I think those next gen stats, if EA just let that be the core reason of why players are rated the way they are, and get those ratings down to where you have that disparity between, what's a guy I could probably throw out there easily? I'm trying to think, Nick Foles is rated in the mid 70s. Yeah. And honestly, probably should be rated at highest, probably the mid 60s as far as ability wise. He's not a starting quarterback, even though he's paid like one. Right. Andy Dalton should be in the mid 60s. He's a starting quarterback barely in the league. But guys that are barely all fringe level talent should be fringe level overalls. No matter what position they play, no matter how big a name they have, if they're fringe level talent, they should be fringe level overall. And that would do away with this whole ability stuff and X factors, because the guys that would be in the high 90 overalls would be the few players that would be good enough to get those, like those Mahomes, like the Bradys, the Rodgers. I'm naming all quarterbacks, but I mean, those guys should be elite by their ratings, and there shouldn't be anybody near them, because that's what differentiates them, their high ratings. And that's the thing I think that Next Gen Stats would help with. I know it's not going to go that way, but that would be the way I'd like it to go. And if that's the way they're maybe gearing it, then I'd be all for it.
It says, I lost it, where to go. As expected, Madden 22 will include a multitude of enhancements to next-gen stats, with data governing passing aggressiveness, how ball carriers break tackles, and team strategy. This is on top of the improvements being made to sideline detection, tackling mechanics, and other gameplay features. It's a little vague. I don't know if that's like a human CPU situation, if it's going to be in all human games, what exactly is it touching? So it's just a little vague.
I will say that their sideline detection and interaction, I actually had something I had not seen in a Madden in like 4 or 5 years. I was playing just an exhibition game as the Saints, and Kamara had a big run. He ran out of bounds and kind of got tackled out of bounds and rolled over. And a guy from the sidelines, not in a uniform, just a black suited guy, like a scout or a ball boy or something, ran over, put his hand down to reach for him and helped him up. And I'm like,
that's cool.
I don't remember ever. I'm like, no. Wait. And I actually went back and looked at the replay. I'm like, that had to have been just like, I mean, it's canned animation, but I'm like, wait, what? Huh?
Yeah.
So that was a cool little thing. I just thought I'd bring up about detection and that kind of stuff. But that kind of stuff, if sidelines react better, that will help the immersion factor. That'll help the realism factor. Madden needs a lot of work. Let's not kid ourselves. But if they're willing to put in the work for the gameplay and the franchise, I think that'll help bring everything. A rising tide carries all boats. So totally agree. That's the things they need to focus on. So.
Let's wrap the show up.
Sure.
The last thing was just that if you get the PS4 version or the Xbox version, you do get the automatic digital upload of the new version. So if you upgrade your console, you do get the new one. I think that's super cool of them. I mean, I say that with a little hesitation. They're a multi-billion-dollar company. Let's not act like they're giving the game away for free like crazy. So I do think that was cool of them. They didn't have to do that, and yet they still did it. So give me a ranking, 1 to 5, first impressions of the beta. Should people be excited? Should it be tethered? Should they decide to throw it all away and go play something else?
1 to 5, I'm going to give it a 3.5. 3.5 because I think it's good. I think it's a step in the right direction, a couple of steps in the right direction. But I do think there's obviously some flaws that need to be fixed. They're working to fix them, it looks like, for the first time in what feels like eons. I think it's good to be cautiously optimistic, which is not my strong point. So this is an odd feeling for me. But I am cautiously optimistic about Madden 22 finally turning the corner. It feels like we've been promised these features for like a decade, and now that they're here, it feels like, wait, seriously? We getting this? Are we getting this now? Okay. Really? Are we sure? So it's kind of like one of the things, like, we've been slapped around so much that when we're finally like offered a hand to be helped up, we're just like, no, go away. We're knee-jerk reaction. But I think on a scale of 1 to 5, I give it a 3.5. It's above average, which is better than what most Maddens have been lately, and there's room for improvement and optimism if you're a Madden fan, for sure.
So this is why I'm not a full-time professional streamer. I did notice that my camera was lagging, and I fixed the audio so that it would all match up, and no one has said anything in chat, and I realized that I actually fixed the wrong audio source. And so this whole time it's been off, and I was going to fix it because I noticed I closed some windows and my camera caught up, and I was like, okay, let me take off the delay, and I realized the delay was on the wrong one. So my bad about it being a little off. This is why we're not professionals, and every time we get to do one of these streams, I get to learn. I give it a higher rating. I'm going to be a man and grab my cojones. I'm going to give it a 4.5. I think it's massive steps in the right direction. This feels like a game that I would play offline, and I can't tell you, 99 was the last Madden game I ever played offline, like legit.
Yeah.
Like, I used to come home every year, PlayStation 2. PlayStation 2. I'd get off at 1 in the morning. I'd come home, take a shower, eat some food, go to my room, and play a game of Madden every night before we called it a night. And this seems like a game I would do that to again. This is an enjoyable game. I'm very impressed with it, and I'm having fun playing the beta. And I'm like nervous because I'm waiting for them to shut it down any moment. But it's been really, really fun. I'm gonna try to send my feedback in later this week. I just want to keep playing it a little bit more. Wynn's played it more than I have, and so I just want to keep playing. I really do. It's little things like, clearly there's a glitch in the system that causes you not to play human-to-human games, and so I wish they'd fix that and send out an update so that we could play some human-human games. That would be fun. Who knows? Maybe that's on purpose. Maybe they don't want us playing other humans. I don't know. I can't speak to it, but if they would fix that one thing, I would be really, really excited. Oh, July 1st is the last day. Well, there you go. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
Is that next week? Yeah.
That is a week and a half from now. Let's see. It is Thursday, so it's 10 days out.
All right. Well, there we go. Well, we got 4 things coming out this week that we'll get a chance to debrief. I'll probably kick out some Grownfolks news. So I'd love to get your support, guys, on that. Give me likes and subscribes, all that fun stuff. Let people know that we're making news. This has been fun. I'm probably going to cut this live stream up a little bit. And it's a PS5 problem for user games. See, Trey knows more than I do. There you go. So clearly it's a PS5 issue. Hopefully they can fix that before this beta ends, because it would be nice to play some humans. But we'll get some news channels put out, and I'll probably take this live stream, cut it up in some cool sections, and spit out some fun videos. So Win, this has been awesome. Let's see how this news goes this next week. And then on Sunday, hopefully, fingers crossed, no technical issues. Sunday, we'll come back together. We'll have fun. And I feel good about Madden. And it's been a long time since I felt good about Madden.
Yeah, I actually concur with that. It has been a long time since I felt good about Madden, and this feels good. And it's a weird feeling, so I'm worried it's going to go away.
Well, let's see how that goes. He says that we're getting a game update this week as well, so franchise will be wiped out. That's totally fine. We'll put up another one, and we'll start getting people invited out. So hopefully that update kind of fixes some things. I'm probably going to play a quarter before I go to bed, even though it's way past my bedtime. So guys, thanks for hanging out with us. I'll chop this up and get out some shorter videos that sit on our YouTube page, so give us some helps with that. And I'm always looking for a pity subscribe. So Home Church 217 on YouTube is my personal YouTube channel for my spiritual leadership community, and it has just been started this year, and I could use some help. And so come give me a pity like over there and subscribe to that channel. Go find Win on YouTube. Winuvas, Winuvas. I think I said that right.
Yep, you got it.
And Win's going to be doing more content for us here on our channel, which is what I'm trying to talk him into. And so hopefully you'll see more and more and more stuff coming out from Win, more and more stuff from the Grownfolks news channel. And of course, we'll stay on top of it for here on Madden 22. We didn't even talk, about the Supreme Court today saying that NCAA players can get paid for their likeness, which is a game changer for the NCAA game and all NCAA games, really. And so lots for us to talk about over the next, 8 weeks, 9 weeks, whatever it is that Madden's not coming out yet.
Yep, that's got nothing to do but talk about news, so might as well go ahead and enjoy ourselves talking about news.
We might as well. Win, thank you again for hanging out with me tonight, guys. Be blessed this week. Do something for someone that you care about. And let's just have a great week. And we'll see you back on Sunday for some Press Pass Live. Until then, peace.